Chapter 1506. The Lord of Demons and Ghosts. Liangyu tried her best, but with her strong body, she couldn't get rid of this restraint, and her body could hardly move. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes and looked at the door of the museum, because he saw a passage that was gradually opening in the tide of hundreds of ghosts. The ghosts respectfully made way, as if welcoming the arrival of a certain important person. In the dark and gloomy hall, ghosts cried and fog shrouded it. Zhang Yi heard the sound of wooden clogs click, click, clicks coming. With the night vision ability of the combat uniform, he finally saw the appearance of the person coming. It was a short old man, wearing a gorgeous kimono, tall wooden clogs, and a short but gorgeous scabbard knife on his waist. But the most worrying thing was his overly huge head. Slippery ghost. In the shadow, Yang Xinxin gave Zhang Yi an interpretation at the first time. Brother, this is the king of the night parade of 100 demons, the lord of ghosts and demons. It should also be the most difficult guy to deal with in the night parade of 100 demons. Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes. It seems that the guy who controls our bodies and makes us unable to move is it. As soon as the voice fell, everyone's body was released from the state of being unable to move. The time was about 3 seconds. It is absolutely a terrifying thing to control the alien of the Black Chariot level for 3 seconds. Zhang Yi had a bad feeling in his heart, because there were more and more ghosts gathering around. Go. Before he finished speaking, 2 figures appeared again in the thick fog beside the slippery ghost. A tall human-shaped ghost with white wings and a long nose, and a thin young man wearing a white yin-yang master robe and walking barefoot. Although I don't know what level of strength they are, they can be parallel to the king of 100 demons, and their strength must not be underestimated. The current situation has somewhat exceeded Zhang Yi's expectations. He had felt that there were some terrifying beings among the 100 ghosts, and he might not be afraid if he really fought them. But at the moment, this group of guys could not be killed at all, so there was no point in fighting. Everyone rushed to the dimensional gate. At this moment, the short old man, who was only more than 1 meter tall, suddenly pulled out the famous sword at his waist. In a moment, he actually flashed in front of Zhang Yi's dimensional gate.
Pang!
A knife fell from the sky, and Zhang Yi's dimensional gate was actually split open with a long slit. That's right, it was split open, not shattered. He could clearly feel that the dimensional gate still existed, and even the 2 halves could be used. However, it was actually split into 2 halves. The slippery ghost did not stop for a moment, rolled twice in the air, and jumped towards Zhang Yi with a naughty smile on his face. He aimed the short knife in his hand at his head and chopped it. This strange ability made Zhang Yi unable to open the dimensional gate to send others away, and he could only choose to fight the enemy first. Sword in the tree. The bracelet on his right hand instantly transformed into a huge plant giant sword, and with a bang, it turned into hundreds of vines, stabbing at the slippery ghost fiercely. But the slippery ghost's dwarf body was too flexible, dodging a large number of thorns while swinging the knife to cut. The knife light flickered in the dark night, and the plant thorns that were cut did not die, but all turned into crooked, weak vines and fell to the ground. The most terrifying thing is that after the slash, the scars will spread toward the source of the sword in the tree. Zhang Yi did not hesitate, immediately broke the vines, and then summoned new vines to attack the slippery ghost. Its movements were too flexible, and it was difficult to capture its figure. However, within Zhang Yi's close range, it only took a moment. The divine domain was purified. The instantaneous ability locked the slippery ghost's position, and his body froze. His originally short body was directly squeezed by the powerful force and shrank into a small ball. Zhang Yi rushed over and kicked it hard. This thing is not dead at all, so there is no need to waste time here. But after temporarily getting rid of the sly ghost, the other ghosts are not just for show. The big Tengu with a long red nose looked at Zhang Yi with a ferocious face, and a staff slowly emerged in his hand.
Dang!
He pointed the staff in his hand at Zhang Yi and others, just a simple finger. In an instant, a terrifying storm swept in with him as the center.
Boom!
The entire Daliangde Museum was shaking, and the floor was blown away. Even the big ghosts could not withstand the strong wind pressure and were swept towards Zhang Yi and others. Sunluo Wanxiang was still strong and blocked these attacks. On the other side, the young Yinyang master transformed and directly blew up the ceiling of the museum. It turned out to be a white giant dog tens of meters high and hundreds of meters long. A string of jade burning with green flames hung around its neck. 3 Ypsilons. Zhang Yi gritted his teeth and felt a little overwhelmed. In the distance, a strange laugh was heard, and the naughty ghost that was kicked away by him flew back like a ball and sat cross-legged on the head of the dog god, with a playful look on his face. He looked down at Zhang Yi and the others. If this continues, it will be bad. The noise is too loud, and the people of the Yuma court will definitely find us. If they also take action at this time, it will be difficult for us to leave. Bailey Chongqing said to Zhang Yi. Is it difficult? Zhang Yi glanced at him. I will deal with those 3 guys. You can handle the other ghosts, right? Fight your way out, and I will take you away. Zhang Yi didn't say much nonsense and rushed towards the Nura, the Great Tengu, and the Inagami in an instant. These 3 guys are indeed difficult to deal with, but Zhang Yi can feel that he can handle it. After all, his current Black Chariot level strength and the title of Absolute Defense are not vegetarian. The noise here in the Daliangda Museum is indeed too loud. Since the 100 Demons Night Parade, the nights in Edo City have always been particularly quiet. But today, the restlessness here has attracted the attention of the entire Yuma court. The team members lurking in the dark night have to be careful to avoid the actions of these evil ghosts every day. So at the first moment of the turmoil here, they showed up one after another and observed everything that happened here from a distance. It's a stranger. A strange face. Ypsilon in Asian. It looks like they are most likely from Huaxi country. Report the news to the master immediately. A large number of members of the Yuma Ting gathered in Edo City, but no one dared to approach. It was not Zhang Yi and others who were afraid, but they were more afraid of provoking the night ghosts. The origin of these immortal monsters is unknown to everyone, but even the cadres of the Yuma Ting try to avoid going out at night. The news that Ypsilon, who is suspected to be from Huaxi country, came to Edo soon spread to the Immortal Mountain. Note: Immortal Mountain is another name for Mount Fuji. Located in the north of Edo City, the Immortal Mountain is the most famous symbol of the entire Neon. It is also the location of the current headquarters of the Yuma Ting, the Tenshu Palace. The master of the Yuma Ting, the evil boy, lives in the temple of the Tenshu Palace, the first shrine of Neon Shintoism. Chapter 15:07 The Tumbler Fell. Immortal Mountain, Tenshugu. The skinny and yellow-haired evil boy was sitting cross-legged in the temple, staring at the huge monitor in front of him. He quickly pressed the game controller in his hand, and the screen was the classic game Dragon Quest in Japan. Da-da-da-da. The sound of high heels came from behind. Evil Boy pressed the pause button and glanced back carelessly. The cadre of the demon court, Purgatory Star, walked a few meters behind him and stopped, kneeling on one knee respectfully. Master. The traces of the Ypsilon-level aliens suspected to be from Huaxu country were found in the city. Hearing this, Evil Boy's eyes clearly showed a light. Ypsilon of Huaxu country? Is it the country where Romance of the Three Kingdoms was born? Their people actually came to Edo, ha 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 ha, it's really interesting. As a young man in the Saiwa era, Evil Boy likes the culture of Huaxu country very much, especially the culture of the Three Kingdoms. One of his dreams is to lead an army to conquer the Middle Earth like Toyotomi Hideyoshi did in the past. But it's nighttime now. They should be entangled by those ghosts, right? The evil boy asked casually. Purgatory Star nodded. Indeed, they appeared in the Great Liangdu Museum and seemed to be looking for something. Oh, really? The evil boy said casually, glancing at the corner of the wooden floor. There were many things in the room in a mess. Figures, pillows, holy grails, and some precious treasures looted from Edo. In the pile of debris, you can vaguely see a golden dragon specimen placed in a crystal box. How can I leave the valuable things in there outside? Purgatory Star raised his head and asked, but we must fight back against the invasion of Edo by outsiders. The evil boy raised his mouth. Let's see how they survive the night parade of 100 demons first. Maybe they will die, without us having to do anything. Or, he rubbed his chin, even if they have some skills, they will be exhausted after fighting those ghosts. We can make a move then. After all, those ghosts can't tell friend from foe. The National Museum of Daliangdu was destroyed in an instant. The night parade of 100 demons in Edo will not pity human buildings. Zhang Yi soared into the sky, turned his head in the night, and stared at the three ghost kings. Very abruptly, heavy rain fell from the sky. Seeing this, the members of the Yumiting team who were monitoring here from a distance all retreated quickly, as if they didn't want to be stained by a trace of rain. Zhang Yi stretched out his palm and let a few drops of rain fall on his palm. The combat uniform analyzed that the rain contained supernatural elements. If it touched the skin, it would definitely cause disasters. Fortunately, Zhang Yi was wearing the top-level Qianlong armor, so he would not be affected. But in the rainy night, a ghost with an umbrella on his head and a green lantern in his hand slowly walked over. In the ruins of the museum, rain condensed into a pool of water, from which emerged a monster with a plate on its head, a turtle shell on its back, and a sharp mouth. Zhang Yi squeezed the water droplets in his palm. The next moment, a huge head suddenly flew towards him from below. It was a beautiful head with delicate makeup and extremely pale, but behind it was a snake-like neck several hundred meters long. Zhang Yi drew his gun, locked the beautiful head with one shot, and blasted her to pieces in midair. The long neck collapsed weakly and fell into the rain. The sly ghost sat cross-legged on top of the dog god's head and laughed "Gegegiai" from his mouth, and the sound seemed to come from the underworld. The angry big Tengu raised the staff in his hand.
Boom.
A huge crack appeared in the gloomy sky, and white lightning swam in the clouds like a silver snake. The strong wind swept in, mixed with silver lightning, and flowed down from the sky in the form of a tornado, heading straight for the area where Zhang Yi was. Facing the attack of the great Tengu, Zhang Yi did not dodge, but just raised his head calmly. The 3,000-dimensional gates formed layers of defense around him. Although invisible, they have extremely strong defensive power. The tornado mixed with lightning rushed into his alien space fiercely, silently, without causing any waves. The attack power is limited, probably only about 13,000 points. Zhang Yi gave his own judgment directly. In this case he stretched out his right hand to the three ghost kings without hesitation, and the next moment, the lightning storm rushed out from another dimensional gate and went straight to the three. The great Tengu's face suddenly changed, and he was thrown out directly, without being prepared. The dog god grasped the ground with four claws firmly, opened his huge mouth towards Zhang Yi, and the flame Magatama on his neck burned fiercely. A surge of energy gathered in its mouth, and then turned into a surge of energy cannons. The lightning storm collided with the energy cannon, and the fierce storm instantly destroyed the Edo castle within a radius of 10 kilometers. A large number of people were blown away like garbage, and then their limbs fell into the city. Soon, the bodies of the people were like plastic-like bags of materials. They fell everywhere. This is just like a garbage dump for dummies, but they are still unaware until death. The eyes of the Nura ghost, looking at Zhang Yi, finally became focused. He stood up from the top of the dog god, holding the famous sword ghost cut, and jumped towards Zhang Yi. Then, he slashed in the air. There was no gorgeous fluctuation, but when he drew the knife, the surrounding space was obviously distorted. Nura Ghost, the lord of ghosts and monsters in neon mythology, a demon who likes to play pranks. Zhang Yi has seen its ability. It has an unsolvable cutting ability, but it will not damage things at all. But once the body is cut, what will happen? No one dares to bet. However, Zhang Yi knows that his dimensional gate does not seem to be able to play a very good interception role in front of him. He took out two white owls, merged them together, aimed at the Nura ghost, and was about to pull the trigger, launching his most powerful attack, the halberd of destruction. Only when the three ghost kings were temporarily cleared out of the battlefield, he would have time to take Liang Yu and others away. However, Just as he was about to make a move, the feeling of being unable to move appeared again. The tumbler fell down. From then on, no matter how hard Zhang Yi tried, his finger could not move the trigger at all. His body was also stiff in place. The sly ghost jumped high, and like a flea, he flew hundreds of meters in the air and came to him. The old Ghost King showed a playful smile at the corner of his mouth. He held the ghost knife with his skinny arms and chopped it down on his head. Chapter 1508. Huge Gap in Strength. The knife of the Nurera Hyon directly cut through Zhang Yi's space door and then slashed towards his body. But when his knife was still far away from Zhang Yi's eyes flashed with dazzling white light. The space centered on the Nurera Hyon suddenly collapsed. Puff! The old man's body was thrown to the center from all directions by a huge force, twisting into a sphere as big as a basketball. Although Zhang Yi's body could not move, the condition for launching the divine domain purification was that he could sense everything within a range of 3,000 meters around him. Seeing this, the dog god condensed a powerful energy in his mouth again, and finally turned into a burning black jade and shot it at Zhang Yi. But this power did not cause any waves, and was directly swallowed by Zhang Yi's space, without even a splash. After 3 seconds, the feeling of being controlled disappeared instantly. Zhang Yi didn't even think about it, and directly launched the halberd of destruction at the Nurera Hyon. Boom! A huge black halberd appeared from the void, slamming into the curled-up old man, carrying him straight to the distant dark sky. In just a moment, the figure of the slippery ghost could no longer be seen. As for the dog god, when it was about to attack Zhang Yi again, a rapid and terrifying roar suddenly came from behind. Huahua spread its wings, jumped onto its back, and then bit it hard. Although Huahua's body was only 1/3 the size of the dog god, this attack directly opened a huge gash in its neck. The dog god's attention was on Zhang Yi, and he was caught off guard by Huahua's sneak attack, and he wailed in pain. Zhang Yi did not hesitate to start the space shuttle, and the sword in the tree in his right hand condensed into a giant sword more than 10 meters long. The dark void power was wrapped around it, and the sword directly cut off the dog god's head. The 3 Ghost Kings were finally solved. But Zhang Yi knew that these undead guys would soon revive.
Go.
Don't delay here. On the other side, Liang Yu, Bailey Chongqing, and others were surrounded by hundreds of ghosts. As the night deepened, more and more ghosts appeared around the Daliangde Museum. Looking around, Edo Castle was full of demons. A ghost head as huge as a mountain with only one head opened its mouth and made a shakuhachi-like hum. A strange monk who was 3 feet tall, purple all over, holding a rosary made of human heads, and his head was actually a mouse. A white-haired woman who made the surrounding temperature drop sharply while walking, freezing everything with ice. A monk with only one eye and an iron staff. They surrounded Liang Yu and others and began a crazy attack. Even the powerful members of the investigation team were in trouble when facing these guys who would soon be resurrected after being killed. Roar! A powerful energy beam shot over and directly blasted all the demons in front of Deng Shintong and others into slag. Huahua and Zhang Yi appeared here. The door to the dimension is open, no nonsense. The operation has failed. Retreat. Although Deng Shintong still had a look of unwillingness on his face, it was definitely not a rational behavior to continue to entangle with them. They had already discovered that more and more mysterious figures appeared in Edo City. They were members of the Yumating. Those guys were waiting for them to be killed by the night parade of 100 demons, or waiting for them to run out of strength before coming to finish them off. Deng Shintong gritted his teeth and said, "Let's go."
Zhang.
He raised his hand and used a move of the divine domain purification to directly clear the field, killing all the demons within a radius of 3 kilometers. Everyone entered the dimensional gate. In the distant night sky, the old and playful laughter came again. Zhang Yi frowned and was the last one to enter the dimensional gate. A space shuttle can reach a distance of 4,000 meters, but they still cannot get rid of the siege of the night parade of 100 demons. But now, Zhang Yi has basically understood the strength of these guys. The strength of the Nura is a bit weird and unclear, but there is definitely a certain gap between it and Zhang Yi himself. As for the Great Tengu and the Nagami, they are only low-level white chariots. Even if the three of them were combined, they could not cause any substantial harm to Zhang Yi. However, they still needed to be wary of the aliens defending the demon court, so they had to evacuate as soon as possible. After the first space shuttle, the Nurera Hyon quickly discovered their location. 4,000 meters was not a very far distance for him, and he would soon be able to catch up. The song of the tumbler had once again sounded in the ears of Zhang Yi and others. But this time, Zhang Yi was mentally prepared and used the all things to protect himself and others from being attacked by demons. He silently counted the time in his heart, waiting for the arrival of the Ghost Kings. After 3 seconds, the control was lifted, and the 3 Ghost Kings had arrived. The Great Tengu and the Nagami were flying in the air, and the Nurera Hyon was holding the short sword on Akiri, laughing and about to jump down. Zhang Yi raised his right hand, overlapped his middle finger and index finger, and pointed in the direction where they were. In his eyes, the light was distorted, and a white light shone. With him as the center, a huge storm of supernatural power surged. Even though Zhang Yi did not deliberately release this momentum, the pressure generated by the concentrated power alone forced Deng Shintong and others to step back and could not get close to Zhang Yi. God's domain purification. This move was Zhang Yi's. He gathered all his strength and delivered the most powerful blow. His fingers turned, and the space where the 3 Ghost Kings were located was like a broken mirror, twisting fiercely towards the middle. It was as if there was a pair of invisible giant hands, holding them tightly and then squeezing them towards the middle. Crack. The bones of the Great Tengu were crushed, and the bone fragments pierced out of the flesh and blood splattered.
The
huge dog god turned directly into a pile of rotten dog meat, wrapping up the sly ghost. Such a terrifying strength stunned the members of the Yumeting team who were watching the battle from a distance. Yumeting. Cadre, Maeda Yuichiro, the leader of the sword-wielding team, opened his eyes wide and didn't even notice that the cigarette in his mouth fell to the ground. What kind of monsters are these foreigners? With just one blow, they killed the 3 kings of the 100 ghosts. After this blow, the power in Zhang Yi's body also temporarily became empty. He opened the dimensional door again. Let's go. Deng Shintong and the others were awakened by Zhang Yi's voice. The scene just now also made them stunned. They only knew that Zhang Yi was now an Epsilon-level alien and was very powerful. But how powerful he was, they still had no clear understanding. Until this moment, they felt like they were facing an ancient god in front of Zhang Yi, and they themselves were weak and humble like insects. Chapter 15:09 The Secret of the Dragon Specimen. Zhang Yi killed the 3-headed Ghost King with one blow, creating a gap for evacuation. Everyone fled along the dimensional gate and soon left this strange city. The members of the Yuma court watched all this in amazement. They realized that the outsiders who came to Edo this time were so powerful that they were a little scary. By the way, I almost forgot one thing. Before leaving, Zhang Yi did not forget to do one thing. He took off the head of a species, because he had to confirm whether these guys who died at night could be resurrected the next day. After doing this, they completely disappeared in Edo City. Zhang Yi did not stop, but left Neon directly and returned to Tianhai City. At this time, the Yuma court had been alarmed, and he had to consider the movements of the Columbia Navy. Therefore, this place was not suitable to stay any longer. In just over 10 minutes, they could travel back and forth between the 2 countries. Only Zhang Yi could do this. They returned to Tianhai City and returned to the familiar warm and comfortable house. The blizzard was raging outside, and the lights in the room were bright. Zhang Yi appeared in the living room and asked Mu Yan to let everyone else out. Deng Shintong and Bai Chunyu stood behind Zhang Yi, watching his back carefully, like students who had done something wrong. Zhang Yi glanced at them coldly, and while taking off his armor, he said, "Don't you need to give me an explanation for this matter?" Fatty Su also crossed his arms, glaring at Deng Shintong and the others with a bully look. That's right. You called us to that kind of ghost place, and in the end you still hid things from the boss. It's really too much. Zhang Yi and others sat on the sofa, posing as a three-court trial. As for Bailey Chongqing and Wu Di, the two had no idea about this matter. After all, they were not Deng Shintong's confidants. So the two were a little embarrassed and had to stand aside and keep silent. Deng Shintong raised his hands. I admit that this matter is my mistake. But Zhang Yi, I hope you can believe that I absolutely have no intention of harming you. Zhang Yi raised his eyebrows. His eyes were a little playful. Even if you want to harm me, you have to have the ability to do so. Even the captain-level aliens whose ability index has reached 9,900 points cannot understand what the Black Chariot with an ability index of 20,000 points is. The gap is too huge to be reasonable. Tell me in detail why you want to find the dragon specimen. What is its use? Zhang Yi paused and said with a deep look. Also, is the original copy of Wang Shouren's Xinxue that you mentioned useful? Although the former made Zhang Yi a little angry, he could be forgiven if the explanation was clear. However, if the latter was false, Zhang Yi would not let it go. Deng Shintong said, "Don't worry, I'm not so mean as to lie to you about this. The story of Xinxue is true. In fact, Deng's technology has never given up the study of ancient and modern Chinese and foreign supernatural events. Wang Shouren's enlightenment in Longchang is one of the most recent supernatural current situations. And the fragment I gave you is also true. So for you, getting it can indeed help you clarify the route of supernatural power improvement. The era of great mutation has only been 3 years. Before this, humans had a very poor understanding of supernatural beings. Even now, most supernatural beings have only 3 ways to improve their strength. First, they can suddenly realize it and find ways to develop the upper limit of their abilities. This method is full of randomness, and sudden realization is also a fleeting opportunity that individuals cannot grasp. Second, inject drugs like people like catalyze, but the risk is extremely high. After all, supernatural power-promoting drugs developed by humans have only been available in recent years, and the side effects are relatively large. Third, devour the origin of supernatural beings, or obtain external energy, such as the spirit of sacrifice. There is a risk of death in fighting, and the more powerful the supernatural being, the fewer prey they can lock on. The opportunity to obtain external objects such as the sacrificial spirit is even more rare. These 3 ways are actually very difficult to follow. Naturally, some people want to find a formulaic route to systematically enhance the power of the aliens. Zhang Yi nodded. This matter had better be true. Otherwise, no one can afford the consequences. Zhang Yi said lightly, and there was no anger in his tone. But Deng Shintong knew that this was an extremely severe warning. After all, for Zhang Yi, destroying the Deng family was just a matter of raising his hand. Then, what about the dragon specimen? Deng Shintong opened the tactical backpack, took out the specimen from it, opened the box and saw that it was indeed fake. There was obvious disappointment in his eyes. I underestimated the Japanese. Their research on Chinese culture is no worse than ours, and they have long discovered the importance of ancient relics. Deng Shintong raised his head and said to Zhang Yi, I mentioned a girl named Amber to you. She has a special ability that can help people develop their potential. I have improved my strength to the current level with her help, and the reason why she has this ability is that she came into contact with the dragon specimen in the Daliangde Museum. Zhang Yi's eyes slowly lit up. So, you think that if you can get the dragon specimen, you'll have a chance to get a bigger breakthrough? Or even break through the threshold of Epsilon? Deng Shintong said, I can't be sure, but now I have to try. He looked at Zhang Yi, his eyes full of envy, but a bitter smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. You made me understand that in this era the aliens below Epsilon are ants. So I hope to be like you. Zhang Yi rubbed his fingers, stared at Deng Shintong, and asked, Where's the girl named Amber? Deng Shintong shook his head. I know what you mean, but she is not an evolver that can be used infinitely. Otherwise, such a powerful alien should have established a powerful alien army long ago. Her ability can only be used on specific objects. and the necessary triggering conditions are very harsh. He explained the ability characteristics of In the Name of Love to Zhang Yi. After listening to it, Zhang Yi immediately became uninterested. Originally, he was not doing it for himself because he had been baptized many times, and now he has become a top-level alien at the Black Chariot level. A mere amber could not help him improve his abilities. He just hoped to help his partners around him. But without the ability of amber, Zhang Yi could also do it with a lot of resources. However, I am indeed interested in the dragon specimen you mentioned. Zhang Yi crossed his hands under his chin. His eyes became a little deep. The creatures and myths and legends may really exist. And is it related to the mysterious tribe underground in the Qinling Mountains? Chapter 15:10 Weirdness does not mean power. Zhang Yi's words made Deng Shintong give a thumbs up. You are really smart. In fact, I do have such a plan. After we get the dragon specimen, we can study it first. When the research is finished, or it is found that it has no obvious effect, we can send it to the Dragon Clan under the Qinling Mountains. This is the current official definition of it. Deng Shintong said excitedly. After our investigation over the years, we can sense that they have no ill will towards us humans. Therefore, Shengjing has been trying to communicate with them. If we can get help from a more powerful civilization, we will have the opportunity to make Huaxiu the most powerful civilized country in the world. Zhang Yi smiled faintly. This is a bit far-fetched. We can't take care of things that are too far away at this time. However, if it is really a dragon specimen, I would be interested. Deng Shintong spread his hands helplessly. If we get the stuff, we will naturally share the benefits with you. But now, the stuff must have been transferred away by them, and we have alerted the enemy. The next action will be difficult. Zhang Yi leaned on the sofa, closed his eyes, and thought for a while before saying, That's right. If it were in the past, we could rely on our absolutely powerful military force to directly rush into Edo and force the Japanese organization to hand over everything we want. But Japan now, even I can't see it clearly. If they really unite with other mysterious civilization forces, even we must be cautious. What's more, there is the Columbia Ocean Fleet stationed in the Neon Harbor. Zhang Yi glanced at Deng Shintong and suddenly said, Ask other organizations for help. Give me the power of another region. This matter can still be done. It's best to be the East China Sea region. Let them use their powerful maritime force to contain Columbia. The Northwest region is also okay. Their supreme commander, Li Changgong, has abilities that can match mine, and in terms of killing power alone, his abilities are the strongest I've ever seen. As long as it is used well, it is possible to kill enemies across a large amount of supernatural power index. Bai Chunyu held his chin and frowned, but in this case, the cost performance is too low. Because our only target objects are Xinxue and dragon specimens. It is not worth using the power of the two regions. He smiled and looked at Zhang Yi. Seeking your help, I originally planned to sneak in quietly, and it would be best if I could steal things back without alerting the other party. Zhang Yi spread his hands. There is no chance to sneak now. So, what are you going to do? Give up the actions. Deng Shintong took a deep breath and said firmly, Absolutely not. Of course not. This is his only chance to be promoted to Ypsilon at present. Even if the hope is slim, the possibility of getting a dragon specimen is much greater than getting a portion of the source of God. That is our Huaxiu country's national treasure. How can it be cheap to Xiao Neon? Deng Shintong stared at Zhang Yi eagerly, as if he was afraid that he would regret it. Zhang Yi sat on the sofa and began to weigh the pros and cons. When things are exposed, it's not so easy to deal with. Of course, the risk of this matter is not very high for him. Now, even if he can't beat the top aliens of the Yuma court and the Columbia fleet, he can easily retreat. But there is one thing that he is not very reassured about. What exactly is the night parade of 100 demons in Edo? If it is really the product of a mysterious civilization, how strong is the power of that civilization? In the case of insufficient intelligence, Zhang Yi dare not act rashly. It's late. Let's take a rest today. I will think about this matter carefully. But Deng Shintong, you should hurry up and collect more information. What I care most about is the night parade of 100 demons, and the reaction of the Columbia fleet. Zhang Yi said to Deng Shintong. Deng Shintong breathed a sigh of relief. At least Zhang Yi did not directly refuse. Okay, I understand. Yang Xia and Zhou Haimei prepared a sumptuous dinner and sent it to Deng Shintong and others. After Zhang Yi finished his meal, he called Yang Xinxin and Zhou Qir to his room. Several people sat on the sofa and began to discuss the follow-up of this matter. Do you think it is appropriate to give up? Zhang Yi directly threw out the topic. The situation is unclear. I don't think we should take risks. Yang Xinxin drank a sip of hot milk and asked Zhang Yi with a smile, Brother, what are you worried about? Zhang Yi expressed his concerns. Columbia's fleet. And the power behind the night parade of 100 demons. The aliens are all over the world, but they are not invincible. After not dealing with the Columbian fleet for a few years, their strength must have been greatly improved. After all, it is the country with the strongest comprehensive strength in the world before the end of the world, leading the world in both military strength and technology. If they can create a Cartiers, they may create more biological warriors. Zhou Qir frowned slightly and murmured, The country of Neon is really weird. People don't want to get close to it anymore. But weird is not the same as strong. Yang Xinxin said. Xinxin, what do you think? Zhang Yi leaned on the sofa and looked at Yang Xinxin. Yang Xinxin said, Brother, Columbia's ocean fleet is still stationed in Neon Harbor. Right? Zhang Yi nodded. Of course, it has been there from the last century to today. Yang Xinxin, what about the power of the ocean fleet? Zhang Yi said, As the most powerful fleet in Columbia, the military strength they possess can be comparable to a large region of Huaxi country. Yang Xinxin smiled. If so, at least one thing can be proved. She raised a white and tender finger and said slowly, Even if Neon has undergone some unusual changes, they still do not have the ability to expel the colonists on their land. This point can basically judge the true strength of the demon court. Yang Xinxin's analysis instantly awakened Zhang Yi and Zhou Qir from the shock of the night parade of 100 demons. It was indeed what Yang Xinxin said. The seemingly terrifying Edo brought a deep shock to everyone. The powerful 100 demons, 3 ghost kings whose strength reached the Ypsilon realm, and none of them could be completely killed. In addition, there were hundreds of thousands of people who would be on standby at night. No matter who fell into Edo, they would feel that they had entered a den of ghosts. But putting aside the fear of humans for the unknown, simply analyzing the combat effectiveness of Edo City, is it really strong? Dear viewers, this video ends here. More will come soon. Please subscribe to stay tuned. Thanks.